Hey, thank you all for tuning in today. My name is James T. Johnson Jr. They call me Coach J. And today I want to step aside from all my performance and all the interaction, my entrepreneur movements, and all those great things that I've talked to on my different podcasts. Today I want to talk to you all that are in the dissertation program, you all that are trying to finish, especially chapter 1, 2, and 3 of your dissertation. I am going to give you some pointers that I have used to help me to get through at least those 3 chapters, which is, I think, is the most challenging part of the whole dissertation program. I didn't want to come on here and talk about the program until I was able to get approved chapter 1, 2, and 3. And I'm not just saying from the angle of my chair, my committee sign off it, but I mean for if you're at GCU, Grand Canyon University, all the way up to the IRB, where I changed from what they consider a learner into a candidate. And I was ecstatic in knowing that the challenge was over, but I realized that I created some techniques, some methodologies that I believe that can be used to help you. And as you look, I have some previous recordings that talked about my little journey and some of chapter 2 and some of the research techniques that I tried, and to me, it helped me throughout the process. So without any further ado, let's talk about it. I believe that in chapter 2, which is for you all that are maybe not at Grand Canyon, but I believe in any dissertation process, they have what we call the meat and gravy, the background, the backdrop, the full story of why you're doing your research. That part in itself is very thorough, very information oriented, where you have to sit there and take the time to explain why this study is needed, the background of the study, and other little tabs that they have to help you through. And as I told before, understand your rubrics. Get that rubrics under your hand and learn how it works and how it processes and what is needed in it. And I talked about little points and little sentences that you write. If you want to learn more, please go back to one of the previous one that talks about preparing your research work. But where I'm at now is learning how to really develop your scholarly voice. And I hinted on that in previous teachings about how you would use different information to kind of bring it to part. But if I can be truthful with you, it's still a little more challenging than what I may have made it seem so easy or so simplistic. It's not that easy because most of us don't write like that. There's certain jargon that your discipline brings about that needs to be implemented into your study. There are certain terminologies that need to be used, a certain way the sentence should flow from one to the next. And that should be something that you work forward to why you're not. This is for the people that are not into the dissertation or people that are. If you're not in the dissertation process, you have plenty of time to kind of like hone in and do some research and find some different techniques or whatever that may work and get ready to utilize them. But if you're in the program, we need to maximize our time. The one thing you're going to find out is time is not your friend, especially when you have to turn in deliverables by a certain time. Here at Grand Canyon, they have an 8-week course or a 12-week course, depends on how it falls in how your setup is. But if you're in 8 weeks, you have to understand by the time you start writing in your first dissertation, if they give you chapter 2 or chapter 3, you now have certain times that you must agree to turn deliverables in, because it's a requirement by the course to try to keep you on a certain flow. And if you're not meeting the deliverables, then you're going to be having times of setback, or you're going to be doing some of that busy writing, trying to make things happen. So we want to avoid that to every way possible. Now, mind you, no matter how much you do, there are times where you just don't feel like writing. But if you start writing down little small paragraphs, start verbiage, put it somewhere on your sheets, when the time comes where you're not ready to write, you can always read. I'm going to tell you right now, in your studies, the one thing you're going to learn is reading, and then more reading, because there's always new information that comes out that will support the reason why you picked this particular topic. There's going to be more research going to tell you about the instruments that you're using if you're using a quantitative approach. There's going to be more information about phenomena that happen if you're using a qualitative approach. There's always information that come out that can kind of strengthen your current research project. So that's where I'm at today. I want you to understand that there are many things that you could be doing when you're not writing, and there's many things you're doing while you're writing. You have to take the time before you start putting pen to paper and find all the resources that you want to use for that particular paragraph or that particular page that the rubric is requiring you to fulfill at that section. Don't look all the way down the line. I know I've told you in other ones about writing, when you read your articles, highlight the points that you like and see if you can fit it in throughout your rubrics. Some of you are not that focused as of right now, but you will later. So what I'm telling you to do is to be able to have information available. So when you begin to start writing, some of the information that you have read will start coming and manifesting in your mind, and you'll start saying, hey, I remember reading that article. This would fit good from here. But what you would do is just put down a little bracket and say, follow up with citations, and keep going. Follow up with citations, follow up with citations. Don't worry about right now going through every part of your sentence, your paragraphs, and finding the citation and going back. Wait till you finish writing the articles to your best ability to a point where you need citations or you feel that their citation exists, and keep going. When you finish the paragraph and you're comfortable with how it's flowing, then you go back to whatever method that you have kept your references to, or your little nuggets or whatever messages that you attach to your pages, and you go and flip through them or whatever you do and try to get those citations plugged in. Then move on to the next section. Don't leave your citations all open and wait till the last minute and do them all. Finish what you're writing, finish that page, be comfortable with the page, and before you turn it in, then go do your citations. What I did is I took a highlighter. Ones that I knew where they were located, I would use a yellow, green, and red method. Anything was green that I knew where it was at, or I read that article and I was familiar with it, I would just go ahead and highlight that green, because that told me right then I don't have to waste time with this one, because I know exactly where I can find that, or at least I'm comfortable in where I can find that in my reference slab. Then I had yellow, where I was cautious. I wasn't too sure, but I know I do have something on there that I may be able to use. And then red was, I don't know where it is. I'm not sure if I got anything on. I might need additional research. So that little color code system helped me to identify where I was with my study, where I was with my citations, how comfortable I was with my research up to that point. And let me tell you something. That yellow, red, and green method helps you out a lot, because it brings reassurance to you that you know your studies and you have vital information that you either read or need to retrieve to help you as you go through the system. And the system is, getting chapter 2 or chapter 3 or chapter 1 completed. So that little technique in itself, it brought confidence to me that I was looking at the page and I would see all this green, I would see a little sprinkles of yellow, but it wasn't much red. Now, there were some times where I was writing in chapter 2 that I had a whole bunch of red, because I had to learn that if I had red, that means either I'm not sure if there's any literature out there. I don't know if I read literature that would support it, or, check this out, I was putting more of my voice into this. Maybe I was being biased. Maybe I was creating something to tie into another citation in front that didn't exist. So I start realizing that, you know what? I got to be careful here. And believe it or not, by me seeing more red than I see yellow or green, it told me that I'm not speaking scholarly. I'm speaking more flesh, or check this out, or I didn't have enough research to support what I'm trying to bring across. Did you get that? I used the color code to, on one way, assure me that I was comfortable in my study and I had enough research to support what I was writing. I was in the place where I had areas that I knew I had it, or I strongly considered that I had it, but I wasn't for sure, and that was yellow. But red was definitely, I don't think I have it, and I don't know what I need to do. And so that means I had to go and find research to support it. But then it threw a next light to me. The more red I seen was either telling me that I needed more research, or my voice was being heard more than the citations. So therefore, I started learning scholarly writing, because scholarly writing is just that, showing that you have research that has already been paved out that states that there is a need for this, or supporting what comment that you're having. As you can say, research has shown, author so-and-so said this, this person had this, it was led to believe by this that all begins to flow as you start using your color code system. So I just want to stop by today and give you that little quick nugget of the color code system that I use it just to help me along the way. When I wrote paragraphs, a page, even several pages, I would go back and I wouldn't worry about the citations off the beginning. I just knew they exist, and I wanted to make sure that when I wrote whatever I was writing, that I could go back and say, research has shown, literature has shown, this person stated, these authors have come to agree to this. It has been mentioned in several locations, and I could be able to cite those. When I start finding the system and I got into the rhythm, it was easy for me to go through and then hit citations. And believe it or not, just because you have a lot of read doesn't mean that you don't have a scholarly voice. It just means that you don't have enough support, as far as you know right now, to support what you have written. So therefore, you have to go out and find more information or more citations or review some of your current documents to help you to bring this to a stance where it can stand alone by the support of the literature. All right, I'm Coach Jay. Again, this is talking about your preparation for your proposal, preparation for your dissertation. So it's been an honor talking to you. Please look on. We're going to continue on with chapter 2 or other little techniques that I have as we go forth into chapter 3 or chapter 1 or even past that. So we look forward to help you along the way. So until I talk to you again, have a great one.